That's just gross, ain't it? Like, let's take an attractive woman and just make her hideous. That's a good idea. Hi. Huge movie fanatic Nate coming back at you on this Halloween week. There's only, I don't know when this is uploaded, but there's, 4 days or well, probably less than 4 days when this is uploaded until Halloween. Maybe 2 or 3, I don't know when it's uploaded. I'm coming at you with a very, appropriate review because this movie, just like its predecessor, the first one, the sequel to Night of the Demons, takes place on Halloween night as well. I'm here to review Night of the Demons 2. And this movie, as I said in my last video, which was a review of Night of the Demons, it came out in like 1994. And for whatever reason, I ended up seeing it. So I kind of, I was still kind of a little bit of a teenager at the time, so I kind of regard it as, partly growing up to a certain extent with this movie. Or, I mean, at least, yeah, I mean, I was still kind of whatever, I was what, 17? So, still kind of kid-minded. I mean, I'm still kid-minded now. But, so I kind of regard, me having, grown up with this movie. And I liked it, and just by chance, like I said in the last video, I just, at Half Price Books, probably in, what was it, 2008, I think I got both of these at the exact same time, which is kind of cool. Night of the Demons 1 and 2, and of course I was excited about finding the DVD of Night of the Demons 2 because, I kind of partially liked it when I saw it and partially like it now. And just after having rewatched Night of the Demons, I rewatched Night of the Demons 2, and I remember it being better, I have to say. I don't know exactly where my stars are for Night of the Demons 2. It might be like, well, I'll say it in a bit. But Night of the Demons 2 is, like I say, something that I saw ever since it came out, and it's a movie back when, like, Republic Pictures were doing, like, some straight-to-video stuff. Good old Republic Pictures. And they did all kinds of stuff in the mid-90s and stuff, and this is one of them. They did Ticks and all this kind of stuff. They did a bunch of stuff in the mid-90s, Republic Pictures, and, like, straight-to-video or whatever. But this movie I would regard as a definite improvement over the original, which is kind of rare in the horror, movies in general, but like the horror movie, B horror movie, genre. I think the director, who is like Brian Trenchard Smith or whatever, is fairly competent and really took, probably a relatively low budget and made a relatively entertaining movie. I mean, there's some really interesting and kind of cool ideas where you got these students. I don't know what the hell, if these are like all orphans. I don't think they really go into it, but all these young people are like living. It's the weird, I don't know, they don't really talk about it, but if it's a boarding house or whatever, but you got all these nubile young women and all these young men living in like this big nunnery, that's what I call like a nun place, a nunnery. I don't know what a nunnery is really called, so I'll just call it a nunnery. It's like this, it's not only a nunnery, it's a fatherery too, because the boys are like taught by the fathers, and I think the girls are taught by the nuns and shit. So you can be sure they're getting the cold hard facts of the reality of the world because they're being taught by religious fanatics, but that's another story. But I don't know if this kind of shit really exists. I don't know, is this boarding school? It might be boarding school. But it's got, even by today's standards, it's like, well, how old is this movie? 20 years old now. It's still got like really kind of snazzy, I mean, this is 2 years before Scream, and it's kind of got a Screamish, the movie Scream, Screamish look to it, and like the young women actors are, I think one of them went on or either was in Coneheads or not Coneheads, but like the Brady Bunch movies or something like that. I think one of these girls might have been, I never seen those because, come on. But I think one of these girls in this movie, like the blonde was, or one of the blondes would end up being or was in, whatever, the Paramount movies of Brady Bunch movies. But I mean, like the women they got for this movie, like are really pretty sexy, and we even see one of the sexiest girls' tits, and for more than like a second and a half, and I appreciated that when I was 17 and still do. And then there's like this super sex pot chick, where the first time I ever saw her was in Amityville 4, like the stupid made-for-TV looking dumb Amityville 4 with that old woman from whatever the hell she was from. And that's the first time I ever can remember seeing this girl, which I don't know her name, but I'll put her name on the screen in red letters. She's like just super sex pot, super sexy chick, and unfortunately you get this far away from like seeing her tits. I mean, she's like, I'm not only a huge movie fanatic, but I'm a huge like tit fanatic. and this girl is just put together like no one's business, and just like I think she was like some kind of a dancer or something, or still was after she stopped acting and shit. But just got a body like no one's business, and just like holy cow. And of course, you know, at 17 when you see this movie, it's just like, oh man, oh man, oh man. And then there's this scene where she's dancing and she rips him out and like covers him up, and it's just like, you know, and whatever. So you never really get to see him, which is fine. So whatever. But that she would also go on to actually what it was in previous prior to this, she was featured very too minimally in Dr. Giggles as well. And I like, why would she be so? Why would you have like in Dr. Giggles such a sexy girl just in the background for a few seconds? This is so stupid, you know. But anyway, that's one of the huge pluses. I mean, she's kind of like this Madonna. She's kind of got a Madonna thing about her face. And then the other girl, who we see kind of actually not have sex, but it's like foreplay, and they don't even get to have sex. He's like, something happens before they even get to do it, and the guy like throws a condom away. He's like, eh. It's always the thing where the girl hears the noise, like, what's that? And he's just like, it's nothing. Come on, keep going. But anyway, I don't think I'm really reviewing the movie. I'm just reviewing like the women in the movie. But I can't really remember too much about the movie. Like I say, it's this boarding school or whatever. The best stuff about the movie is simply just like the boarding school, the boys and girls just flirting and getting it on, and like the flirtatious shit, and the tennis court, you know, where the guys like, they call me King Snake. And he throws a basketball, and the sexy Madonna chick, dancer girl, was put together like no one's business, is like holding the basketball between her legs. And it's just like, that's like, she's really sexy in that scene. Well, she's sexy in every scene. But this movie is you know, this movie's got, I don't know, it features obviously the Angela character back, who's, you know, the least interesting thing about both of these movies for me is the Angela character. I don't give a rat's frickin' ass about the Angela character, and it's just as well because she's barely even in this movie. And in this movie they have this stupid thing, which I don't think existed in the first one, where she's got all of a sudden this sister, which is kind of this nerdy girl at the, whatever it's called, what boarding house? I was calling it the boarding house, you know, where she's just like, they call her Mouse, her name's Melissa, they call her Mouse, she's just this timid, just kind of nerdy girl who's apparently in this movie, even, it's just like Halloween 2, where all of a sudden, you know, Angela's, the main killer character's got a sister now. All of a sudden this is Angela's sister, and that's just kind of dumb. And I mean, the best thing about this movie is just like the, I don't know, the boarding house stuff with these sexy young women, you know, and just like, you know, I don't even care about the Angela shit. And what's funny is, you know, they're of course they're like, all right, you know, they're having this stupid party with at the nunnery or whatever, the boarding house with the, you know, Neil Diamond Records or whatever. And they're like, screw this, we'll go to the best party ever. We'll do a party at, guess where? I bet you can't guess. Hull House or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, I didn't know we were coming here. Well, we're already here, so we might as well make the best of it. And they go in there and bring back Lipstick, I think. Oh, because Lipstick was a part of the first, because she put it in, whatever. Anyway, one of the characters brings back Lipstick from Hull House, and that brings like the demons to the boarding house, and it's just like there's some mishap that goes, mischief that goes on at the boarding house. And then it's so dumb because then they go back to Hull House again at the end, and it's just like, out of all these movies, like the least interesting thing is Angela and Hull House. It's just this rat-tattered old Myers house kind of just run-down place, and to me it's just not, I don't know, I mean, sure, it's creepy and spooky and like cobwebs and Halloweenish and shit, but like Hull House, I don't care. Like the stuff that I like about this movie is kind of just like the campus boarding school atmosphere, and the sunny bright days out on the tennis court with the, you know, nubile, you know, big chested girl holding the basketball between her legs and giving a look like, you know, a look to kill, a look to die for. So I think we'll go 1 3/4 stars, 1 3/4, 1 3/4 stars for Night of the Demons 2. In my opinion, it's an improvement over the first one, which is not saying much. And to be honest, if there were no Angela and no Hull House, it might be a 2-star movie. There's really cool, like hip even by today's standards, 20 years later, ideas where they got like, which is really cool, where they got like this, one of these nuns is like, they'll do a scene where it's like a commando suiting up scene where it's like, there's a balloon with a cross on it and they'll put holy water in it, and they're gearing up to battle the demons. So it's like she takes out her long yardstick, that she of course whips people with, and she'll, so it's like this preparing for battle, like a holy battle, and she's like got her crucifix and it's like, so there's really cool like gimmick. I like the sense of humor about it in relation to like, taking the nun and making her like a, not that I give a shit about it, but a soldiers for good or whatever the hell, soldiers for the Lord. But just that stuff of making water balloons with holy water in it as a grenade and all this kind of shit. So that's some of the stuff that I really thought was really cool, and they could have, I don't know, embellished, done more of that kind of cool stuff. You got like Entertech, like machine gun water pistols full of holy water and stuff. I mean, that kind of stuff is really just cool ideas, and it's like do. So you got these guns which are just water guns, but they're actually full of holy water, so they actually are deadly to the demons. That's just kind of a cool idea. So those kind of really cool little details is what makes this movie, in addition to just like the sexy, nubile young women in it, is what makes this movie better, more enjoyable for me than the original. So 1 and 3/4 stars for Night of the Demons 2. Like I say, I think there's a remake of the first one, which I've not seen, but having reviewed the first one, I'm kind of almost interested in seeing it. Not that I'm going to, but whatever. I'm interested to see if it's worse or better. Probably just like the same. It's just stupid than the original. But I guess that about does it. This movie kind of wears out its welcome. Is this the one that has the big at the end? I think it is the one who has that big where Angela, you thought she's destroyed, and then at the end it's like, you're like, oh, finally the movie's over, and then it's like, no, it's not. We have it wears out its welcome, in my opinion, where you got Angela as the snake thing, and it's just like, oh, give me a break. I mean, that was a lot of work probably to do, and it's just like, by then you don't even give a shit. So thank you very much for watching my review of Night of the Demons 2, and as this, October Halloween season winds down, enjoy the jack-o'-lantern, because, because it ain't going to be around much longer. So of course you can always watch these videos whenever the hell you want, so I guess whatever. So alright, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.